figure out this whole live stream thing. See what it's like. See if I can get a decent little camera angle here. So yeah, that works out. That's pretty good. See if anybody decides to come on here. We'll find out. Of course, this is the first live stream that I've done. Let's see. So the camera works really well. There's one person. Figured I'd go ahead and try this whole live stream thing out. What's up, Mike? How you doing? That's awesome. I'm happy you enjoy them. That kind of, makes it worthwhile to go ahead and keep doing them. But I decided to go ahead and try one of these live stream things. I'm going to be doing them for my member section like once a week. So, had to figure it out. Well, there's some more people right there. How y'all doing? I can see y'all in the chat, so if y'all want to type something out or anything like that, go ahead and do it. I'm trying out the whole live stream thing. That way I can do it a few, times a month, and also for the little member section that I'm going to be doing. So that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Thanks. So when I'm going to be doing the live streams, I'm going to try and do like different parts of it. What's up, Mark? From the UK. That's awesome. What time is it in the UK right now? So when it boils down to it, what I plan on doing with the different little live streams is I'm going to end up going into just detail for different things that I'm doing. It makes it a little bit easier to just pop y'all in here. And if I'm going to be doing something like on this hidden tang integral bolster knife, like coming in here and squaring off shoulders, or like going into more detail with things like that, or doing grinding bevels and stuff like that. What's up, y'all? What's up, Kim? So when it boils down to it, I'm going to try my best to actually put information into the live streams as opposed to just kind of talking and doing stuff like that. So we're going to be doing things like correcting blips and bevels and stuff like that. So like whenever you're going through and you're grinding and you accidentally mess it up a little bit, how to actually correct that while grinding so you don't get super stressed out about it or anything like that. So we're going to be doing some of that stuff with the live streams. And then I'm going to be doing different hammer techniques, forging techniques, why I use particular hammers that I do, and particular parts of like anvil. We're going to be going through heat treat processes, the actual reason why you anneal, normalize, thermocycle, things like that. So it should be pretty fun. And I'm going to be doing, when it comes to the members section of my channel, the membership thing that you sign up for, I'm going to be doing even more in-depth stuff with that side of it. And that'll be just for the people that are members, but I'm also going to be doing live streams for the regular channel so that y'all don't have to worry about some paywall thing. But I am going to be doing a little bit more fine-tuned stuff for the members section. And I'm going to try and do that once a week, and it's going to be pretty cool. But I love this aspect of it because like right now I can bring y'all over here, get y'all set up next to the grinder. And speaking of the grinder, I want to show y'all something. So I'm about to, so we've got this grinder here. I am getting with Brian House with Housemade US. We're going to be doing a Revolution grinder. I'm going to build one of those, and I'm also going to do one of the Apollo forges that he has. I'm going to build that on the channel. So both the grinder and the forge. But whenever I do that, I'm actually going to take this grinder that's right here, and I'm going to make it set up to use these ridiculous belts. So y'all seen 2x72 belts. They're 2 inches wide by 72 inches, like all the ones that are right here. I'm going to be building something to work with these. So regular belt size, these belt sizes. So it's going to be quite a bit larger. So these are 36 grit belts. I've got like 60 of these, and if I'm right, they're like 200 inches long. So, and it's just still a 2-inch belt. So it's still going to be a 2x, but it's like very, very, very long. And the company that I got these from, they were supposed to send me 2x72 belts, but they accidentally sent me those. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just make something that works with them. So this grinder is going to get turned into that, and it's basically just going to be used with a big contact wheel. So whenever I'm grinding and just removing material, it's going to be just for that. If y'all go to the channel called Blackbeard Projects, he has a whole entire thing set up for his belts, kind of like that, and his grinder is pretty much on the floor, and then he's got a big rack that he set up, or a big setup for it, which is pretty cool. But I'm gonna be doing something like that. Now, like I said earlier, this is like a test for the live streams. Now, what I am planning on doing is, like I said, teaching y'all how to correct bevels, and teaching y'all how to do different things with the hammers, teaching y'all how to work on your knife profiles, teaching y'all how to do just the stuff that I can just hop on, talk to y'all about real quick, and make it easy. I'm not going to be doing like channel updates and stuff like that on the lives. It's going to be purely a little teaching moment and stuff like that. Now, take y'all off of here. So whenever I am going through and showing y'all the template stuff, I'm going to actually be bringing y'all over and showing y'all why I do certain things with my templates and cutting them out. But whenever I'm drawing things out and trying to get sizes, so like this was one of the outlines for the last knife that I just did, to refine it to that. Teaching y'all decisions I make to be able to get down to this profile, and why I do the plunge lines in certain areas, the flats, all that stuff goes down to the same thing with whenever I did the integral before it. But just going through and all the different little profiles. That's one that my nephew drew in here. But there's a lot of different things that I do in my profiling whenever I'm sizing my handle and figuring out what exactly I'm going to do. This is the actual handle profile for the one that we're working on right now, that larger forged integral. And then I'm going to be doing some of the sneak peeks for things like the handle material that I'm going to be using on that. This is the little box of stuff that I plan on using soon, versus my big toolbox area that I have all the rest of the handles. This is going to be a beautiful piece whenever I use it. So I'm going to be doing a couple of chef's knives where this piece back here is actually that is the butt of the handle right there. And I'm going to leave that on there. But those are going to be pretty cool. That's going to get split into two and made into a handle. Now, the material that I'm using, I've been wanting to use this for a little while because of the way it looks. I'm thinking about using that with this knife, because I think that it would look cool either starting it from right there What's up, Daniel? Argentina. Wow. And either going from right there or coming from the dark into the light. But either way, this is a really cool block from Oleg. It's got some nice little blues in there. But I'm thinking about doing that with this knife because I think it would just look like a nice, clean, classic handle, with especially with the actual profile that I'm going to be doing on it. I think that's going to work out real well. We'll see how that goes. Again, as I get more used to doing the actual YouTube lives, because it's a whole new process for me. We'll have more of an actual routine for what we go through and do, and I'm happy that y'all actually logged in to like check it out and everything. But what do y'all want me to do in the next live? So I'm going to be doing, without you having to be part of the member or anything like that, I'm going to be doing another live for after the Shop Talk Tuesday. So what would y'all like to see? What y'all, is again, the best part about this whole live thing is y'all get to interact with me and actually type, and I get to read what you're saying and all that. So what would y'all want to see on the next live stream? Is there anything particular that you would like me to focus on so that as I'm doing it, you can go, oh, hey, why did you choose that? Oh, hey, why did you choose that? Because that's one of the best parts about the whole live stream. Why did you make that decision? Why did you do that there? Why are you using a 36 grit belt? Why are you using a 120 grit belt? Why would you use a Scotch-Brite belt for that? Stuff like that. And that's, again, the best part about the whole live stream thing. And this is nice because I didn't know exactly how this would go with it being the first one that I did, and it was a really good test, and I'm happy that y'all are actually typing. So that's pretty cool. And y'all are from all over the place, which is absolutely awesome. I think that's cool. So again, just to give y'all a little bit of info in this one, because y'all decided to come here and participate in it. Whenever I'm doing bevels, okay? So I know that a lot of people, they do their bevels different ways. For me, okay? I'll show y'all something. Let's get y'all kind of in here, because I'm going to give y'all a little bit of info because y'all decided to go ahead and participate in this and bring y'all down a little bit. What you got there? What's up, War Dog? Mark? Yeah, that's actually a good idea too, with the beneficial use of steel after design. Yep. Stuff like that's what I'm talking about. That would be good info there too. So when it comes to doing bevels, if y'all look at a lot of my knives, a lot of my bevels and my plunges are angled. I don't do very many like vertical plunge lines to where, like, if you see a lot of the people who are doing their bevels, whenever they're coming through, they go straight to where the blade is perpendicular with the belt. A lot of them use like the work rest method, or they use bevel jigs. So by default, a lot of them get stuck in this grind right here. Me personally, I almost always tilt it like this because, for one, if you look at a lot of my blade designs, they are more flowing. And if I did this 90-degree plunge right here, it wouldn't flow with how I do my handle and all that stuff. Now, I like some of the knives, a lot of the buoys and things like that have that 90 and they're really crisp and everything. But for me, everything kind of has to flow. It's kind of my design choice. But whenever I'm coming through like this, it's real easy for me to hold the knife. Here is one thing, but whenever I tilt it, I find that I have more control with how I'm doing my pressure and everything, and it lets you get away with some of the issues that you might have. Whenever you are trying to go here and you're trying to keep it perfectly perpendicular, I don't feel like you have as much fun with it. Now, that's not saying that you don't, because people can freehand it however they want. But for me, I like to come in, see what I'm doing, and then every once in a while, let's say like this blade right here, if you look at it, this isn't perfectly straight right here. That doesn't matter. So I forged it and then ended up grinding it in. Now, the spine is exactly how I want it. The spine going all the way through to the tang, all that is exactly how I want it. Nice and straight, little taper, all that. But the cutting edge, what I know is that this section right here is perfectly centered. So what I do whenever I'm coming through here and I'm grinding like this, if I see that, it's easy for me just to tilt it more and then straighten it up. Because if you tilt it to where the blade is at more of an angle, you can come in and you can actually straighten up that cutting edge. And then whenever you're finishing the grind, everything will even out. So it's something simple that you can do to be able to go ahead and straighten this. And what I would do is I would straighten this before going through and doing my center scribe. So I would come in, and if I wanted to erase that little section that bumps out right here, if I wanted to erase any of those sections, go through, get rid of that, and then come in, put marker on my edge or whatever, then do my center scribe, and then I do the bevels from that. I don't just go in straight from the bevels or straight into the bevels and try and correct it there. I want to correct it before I start grinding in my bevels. But I like coming in here and doing this. Now, if you want to do the work rest method, you can technically put your work rest on here. So work rest on here, and you can still put the angle on here. All you're going to do is you're just going to drag it with your tip on the work rest. And you can still do an angled plunge line that way just fine. The reason why a lot of people use the work rest method, which I think is a great idea, you'll see Dennis Tyrell do it a lot. The reason why people use that work rest method is you don't get that weird bobble. So whenever you're coming in and you're grinding this and you're doing it free-handed, let's say you're not very good at keeping this arm where it's at, and you get a little bit of this going on and you get some wobbles in it. If you use the work rest, this right here is never going to dip. So when you're holding it by hand and you're trying to do it, this might dip here and there, and then you feel like you can't correct it. If you're using the work rest, this will always be, the tip will always be in the same spot as you're pulling through. And then all you got to do is focus on the pressure you're putting this way. Whether you're trying to get more ground out of the edge or you're trying to bring it up to the spine, bring those bevels up. If you're trying to bring it up to the spine, you're pushing at the spine. If you're trying to get rid of more of the edge material, you're pushing at the edge. And if you're using that work rest, that's all you got to focus on. When you're freehanding, you got to focus on that plus keeping your elbows and your hands locked. What's up, William? So when it boils down to it, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Me personally, I like keeping it angled, come through. I like angled plunge lines. I like flowing plunge lines. But whenever you're going through and you're grinding, it's kind of like a personal preference on what makes it easy for you to be able to be consistent without this getting all over the place. If someone was wondering how to freehand grind versus using the work rest method or using a jig, all you really got to do, let's see here, I get blips and the blade's edge, even with the, okay, so good point, Kim. So if you're getting blips and are And now I'm trying to figure out if you're talking about blips in the actual cutting edge area. So if you're getting blips down here in that area, all you got to focus on with that, because typically that's people putting too much pressure into the belt. If you're getting a lot of blips into that area there, just be gentle when you're pulling. And then if it's in the bevel, all you got to do with that to be consistent is come up to the belt, get everything. If you can get your platen where your arms can be in a nice little, almost a 90 here. So for me, I can raise my table up and down to put this wherever I want. But whenever you're coming through, in order to minimize those blips, get your hands in a comfortable position here. I'll put my middle finger kind of underneath right there, and I'll come in, and what I'm doing is going to the belt, and then I'm rocking and rocking. So moving with the hips. You know how they say it in golf, it's all in the hips. Same thing. So you're coming in, you're getting comfortable right here, keeping that tight, and you're pulling. Whether you're going back and trying to do a recurve blade and you're having to rock it and do a few other things, your elbows are still staying stationary. You're just moving your body in a different way. The issue is when people go through and they push too hard into the belt because they're trying to hog off material, and the belt starts jerking or it starts rocking them like this. That's when you're going to start getting those blips. And what you want to do is just be consistent with it, pull through. The only time you would change that consistency is, let's say you're trying to do this particular grind that I'm going to do on here. In order to get this grind, I've got to be shallow here and put more pressure on the spine here. So for ones like that, I would have to come in with the blade at more of a angle like this in this section. And then when I get to this section, it rotates towards the spine. So angle to the spine as you pull through, and that's what brings that bevel all the way up here and thins out the blade as you come through. But when you're just trying to keep it even, it's just keeping that consistent. Because what you're doing is you're treating your body like it was a jig. You're treating your body like it's just a jig there. All you're doing is being consistent, moving with your hips, not putting too much pressure in. And if you're doing that, with a bevel jig and you're still getting those issues, all you need to do with that, get yourself, some people use a push stick or whatever, but if you're using a jig, come from the side. So not in front, but come from the side and pull through like this. As you're coming through, you can really focus on how it's going across that belt and rocking into the tip. Don't use your jig like this, because at that point, it's kind of, you don't have to use your hips and all that stuff. If you're going to be using your bevel jig, take and pull through. Take and pull through. And it'll make it a lot easier. And then how do you get the tip areas when grinding? The tip to keep with removing material off the edge. Yeah, that does make sense. Okay, so if you're trying to go through and remove material from that tip area, because a lot of people, what'll happen is when you're grinding your bevels, you'll get your edge real thin and then you'll have a broad tip. So you're coming through, getting that edge thin. What you're doing with that to be able to get that tip worked in is you are coming to the end and you're kicking the tang towards you. So you're going to come through and you're going to kick that tang towards you, and that's what's going to actually do it. You're not going to kick it as much as I'm doing right here. This is over exaggeration, but you're going to come through and you're going to rock out. Come through, rock out. And then what I'll do typically, because my bevels tend to go up higher towards the tip, is I will come through, and as I'm rocking out, I'll put more pressure on the spine. And what that'll do is that'll bring your flats, so where the blade comes up into your flats right here, it'll bring that and sweep it up. Because a lot of people want to see that sweep up so that your amount of bevel is the same all the way up through the tip, and you don't end up with a very shallow bevel on the tip. You have a bevel, and where the transition from the bevels to the flats actually flow all the way together. If you want to get that flow to where it actually hooks up, you're going to come through, and then as you get to that tip, you're going to do a little bit more pressure on the spine and kick it out. A little bit more pressure on the spine and kick it out. Do that gradual and let your belt do its job. Don't try and force it into here. If you're using a 36 grit belt, it's going to take a lot of that material off anyways. And take your time. Don't try and get your bevels done in 5 seconds. You'll see a lot of people go in there and just hog that material off. You don't need to do that. What you're trying to do is, there we are. Looked like we disconnected, reconnected there for a second. So when you're doing your 2x72 work, you can hog off material when you're actually trying to get your profile done, or if you're trying to remove a bunch of tang material, you can really get in there and hog off material. But when it comes time to do your bevels, you want to take the time, let the belt do its job, and you just get consistent with it. That's all you're focused on, is what your body's doing. Don't try and take off a ton of material at one time. You're not in an episode of Forged in Fire. So if it takes you an hour to do your bevels, or 2 hours, but they're clean, that's a lot better, and it's a lot less hand sanding that you have to do. So it's worth it to just take your time. So good. And the best part about the lives is stuff like that, where y'all get to say, hey, there's something that I'm having an issue with, and that's what I hope to correct. One of the other things that I'll be talking about in a later video is simple things like handle ergonomics, why I choose to put certain things where I want to do them so that it's comfortable for a hand. Before I was a knife maker, I was a knife collector for a very, very, very long time, about 20 years. And I have held an absolute ton of knives. I've used an absolute ton of knives. So whenever I went into knife making, I had an idea of how I wanted my handles to fit in my hand and other people's hands, because a comfortable knife is a knife that you'll use. An uncomfortable knife is a knife that will get put on a shelf or given to a friend. So if you want people to use your knives and buy more of your knives, it needs to be a comfortable knife. So it needs to be something that they want to use. So I'll go into detail on handle profiling and ergonomics and stuff like that. But, you know, I think it's pretty cool. And like I said earlier, I'll be doing these on the members section. So if you want to become a member of the channel, I think it's like 2 different things. It's like a $4.99 a month and like a $9.99 a month. There's like a regular membership and like a VIP membership, where I'm going to be doing that. The people that do the VIP membership can actually do a one-on-one video call with me a month, which is pretty cool. So you can actually hop on here and have my focus for 30 minutes or whatever, and we can go through and actually talk about what you're doing and have a video call where you can be at your 2x72, and I can say, okay, cool, this is what we're going to change. This is what we're going to adjust. If you do this with your body, it'll be better. Same thing with forging. If you do this thing right here, swing your hammer this way, hold it this way, because I can see how you're holding it. And, you know, for elbow fatigue, y'all know that whenever I forge knives like this right here, I spend hours forging, and I am not hurting in any way, shape, or form. It's as long as you're just doing it the right way. Things like that, I get to break down for you in those. But when it comes to the lives that I'm going to be doing for the regular channel, which I am going to do, y'all will get to see a lot of different things. Hopefully y'all looking forward to that. We're almost at 30 minutes here. Thank y'all for being a part of this live stream, my test live stream. I'm happy that I was able to actually talk about a few things other than just sitting here mumbling, trying to decide something to talk about. So thank y'all for participating and actually, you know, having comments in there. I'll be doing the next live on the channel on Thursday. So this coming up Thursday will be the next live, and I think in that one I'm actually going to show y'all how to correct a blip. I'm purposely going to mess up the bevel, and then I'm going to fix it for y'all. So I'm going to actually do that stuff that people do, and I'm going to show y'all how to correct that. So you'll get to see what my body does, what I'm doing with the movements and everything like that, and we'll get that little blip, that little screw up out of the blade as we're going through and we're grinding, and you'll get to see exactly what that looks like. And I'm going to do that in the next live stream. Like I said, it's going to be on Thursday. Hopefully y'all are looking forward to it. If y'all interact with me a lot on these, I'll do more of them, and maybe we'll get to where we're doing a few a week. So we'll see how it goes. Guys, thank y'all for being a part of this. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch y'all on Tuesday, where this actually has bevels, has the actual finish on it, has the actual hand sanding and everything, and it's going to look absolutely beautiful. Y'all check it out. See y'all later.